Tēnā tātou katoa, ko lani kere o tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Whakaue ki Ohina Matua Hau. In this time of climate change, Te Arawa has a vision for our whānau and hapu that includes energy security and sovereignty. I'd like to share a part of that vision with you now. Our whānau, including those displaced by climate change, live in healthy homes. Our wāhi tapu, cultural heritage sites, and places of significance, including our ngāwha, our natural geothermal systems, including boiling springs, mud pools, and geysers, are recognised and protected. Our collective taonga, treasures, including natural resources such as geothermal heat, steam, and hot water, are used sustainably for the benefit of our whānau, hapu, and wider communities. Rotorua city and surrounds are supported by green, biophilic, water-sensitive infrastructure. Our whānau use our ngāwha to heat our homes, cook our kai, and to bathe in. Our whānau use solar panels on our homes and marae to generate and share our own electricity. Our iwi uses the wind, water, and sun on our collectively owned lands to generate and share additional electricity across our whānau, hapu, and marae. Our whānau are empowered to transition to skilled green jobs. Our whānau enjoy intergenerational and sustainable prosperity. Our families understand the changes that climate change may bring. They are emotionally and spiritually prepared for change. They are resilient, adaptive, ready to work together to mitigate any impacts, and are prepared with emergency management strategies and appropriate resources. This is a part of the future vision of the Indigenous peoples of these lands, mai Maketu ki Tongariro, from the beach at Maketu across to Mount Tongariro. Tahi Kāro is a collective of hau kainga or resident representatives from hapu and iwi who have maintained continuous occupation of Ohinemutu, Ngāpuna, Whakarewarewa and Tarewa Pounamu villages in Rotorua since pre-colonial times. I am one of two people within the collective currently representing Ngāti Whakaue ki Ohinemutu. Our group has been consulted by Bay of Plenty Regional Council since 2018 on the review of its Rotorua Geothermal Regional Plan. A technical report, Ngā Wai Āriki o Rotorua, The Waters of the Gods within Rotorua, was commissioned by Council to provide mātauranga Māori perspectives on the current health and well-being of the Rotorua geothermal system. It provides a snapshot of some of the intergenerational knowledge and observations of whānau who have lived amongst ngāwha for hundreds of years. In our opinion, mātauranga Māori offers more than Western science does, in that it, 1. takes an holistic view of the health of ngāwha, incorporating understandings of what's known about the virgin state of geothermal systems, boiling springs, mud pools and geysers, as well as any natural and unnatural changes observed firsthand over time. 2. It views the use of these living systems through a lens where the systems themselves and all associated ecosystems have a prioritised right to maintain their own mana integrity and mauri life force. And 3. The use of our ngāwha is also considered within the context of protecting the birthright of our future generations to enjoy and utilise the same resources. Sadly, our intergenerational connection, relationships, sciences and understandings have been negatively impacted by the systems and processes imposed on us by local and regional councils from the time they assumed the authority to manage the use of our taonga. In my lifetime, I have personally witnessed and experienced a huge loss of connection and mātauranga amongst our whānau and hapu due to environmental pollution, degradation, and the breakdown of geothermal bathing, cooking and heating infrastructure within my village. We still retain elements of our traditional mātauranga because we have always lived here amongst our ngāwha and observed the systems daily, but it's impossible to maintain the deep understanding that our grandparents had when these systems are being continually disrupted and impacted following resource consent decisions made by councils of which we have very little information and minimal power to influence. Enforced foreclosures in the 80s that benefited business over communities, and the prohibitive cost of licensing, constructing reinjection bores, paying royalty fees, and maintaining bores and hot water piping has seen geothermal become a rich man's resource. The ability of commercial entities to meet these costs has seen them enjoy long-term access to geothermal heat and waters, while our local homes and schools are freezing. Mana whenua, the people who whakapapa to these lands, are now living on top of heat, energy, and healing waters that we can no longer access. Our Indigenous worldview supports the prioritised use of all resources to support the collective over individual or commercial benefit. And in this unprecedented time of climate change, the health and well-being of communities over the profits of companies must be empowered within all local and national resource management plans, including the Rotorua Geothermal Regional Plan. Adaptation, mitigation, and resilience building to ensure communities throughout Aotearoa are prepared for any impacts that climate change may bring can only occur through systems change. That means actively moving away from the broken systems that are driving inequality and inequity. The rising cost of electricity that will occur as transport and industry move away from fossil fuels and onto electricity grids will be felt most keenly by lower socioeconomic families who already suffer most from energy poverty. The National Electricity Price Review in 2019 showed there are around 100,000 families that go without power in Aotearoa every winter. An Otago University study showed 20% of New Zealanders have gone without heating or power because they couldn't afford it. As a direct result of energy poverty, 25,000 of our nation's children get bronchial illnesses every year, and 1,600 people die. We already know the majority of those families, tamariki and kaumātua, are Māori. We once used our geothermal taonga for our home heating, bathing, healing, and cooking. Geothermal energy was part of our everyday lives, an essential component of social connectivity, and a means of sharing knowledge. It played an extraordinary role in establishing or enabling self-sufficiency, and a critical role in providing for the intergenerational health and well-being of our communities. Local and central government must stop meaningless consultation with iwi and commit genuinely to co-governance and co-management of geothermal resources in partnership with tangata whenua, alongside what is potentially happening in the freshwater space. There are 2 points that I feel need to be made very clearly here. Firstly, Te Arawa is not talking about opening up the Rotorua geothermal system or any others for unlimited use towards district heating schemes. We are talking about the reallocation of existing consents. Moving away from allowing the unlimited use of our birthright to subsidise the heating costs of the accommodation sector, and the unlimited use of our healing waters by a polluting tourism sector. Not that Te Arawa are saying there is no place for geothermal spas within tourism. After all, it was our whānau and hapu who first established tourism in Aotearoa. We just want it done responsibly, sustainably, and equitably. What's most important to us is ensuring the prioritised use of our geothermal taonga for the warmth and well-being of resident Rotorua families over the monetary profits of people who don't even necessarily live here. Secondly, Mātauranga Māori, such as what has been outlined within our Ahikaroa report, must not be used by policymakers to cherry-pick that which supports business as usual. Policy, further investment and rights must not be provided to national and multinational power and energy companies to deliver to 100% renewable. The focus must be on micro and community-based solutions which are more beneficial and in line with the energy security and sovereignty aspirations of Te Arawa. And because Mātauranga Māori evolved from intergenerational connection with Indigenous ecosystems, it will always demand that decisions are made with the natural environment, taonga species, and associated communities prioritised. It will always directly conflict with destructive Western systems and processes that are driving climate change, environmental pollution, and biodiversity collapse. Te Arawa has a vision and a plan for our future generations in this time of climate change. Our vision includes energy security and sovereignty for our iwi. And our plan involves the reconnection of our whānau and hapu with our geothermal taonga. Thank you.